Here's a live look at Ann Arbor right now. Of course, the big house. Michigan fans are not tired of celebrating that national championship. No way. It is Wednesday, and they are still running on the high. They are trying to put some plans in place for some kind of celebration for the team. And when we find out about them, we will pass them along to you. All right, it is the second week of January when a lot of us try to overhaul everything in our lives, from food to exercise to cleaning out all of our closets and organizing things to drinking. So dry January is a big trend where you stop drinking alcohol for the entire month. So I talked to Dr. George Koob from the National Institutes of Health in Washington, D.C. about the potential benefits of going dry for those 31 days. All right, Dr. Koob, I think this is the time of year when a lot of us rethink our drinking. But before we get to, I think, what has really become the trend of dry January for a lot of people, let's go ahead and back up and take a look at what is the larger alcohol usage and really the problems that we're seeing among Americans.
Well, we have about close to 30 million people who have an alcohol use disorder, which, as you know, is a spectrum disorder. So it can be mild, moderate, or severe. But we think of it like we used to talk about terms like alcohol dependence, and that's a huge fact. The other big fact is out there is that alcohol now is thought to be responsible for half of liver disease deaths in the United States. You go into any emergency room on a Friday or Saturday night in the United States, and half the people there are because of alcohol. It could be an accident. They ran their motorcycle into a post. Could be falling off a ladder. It could be any number of things, but alcohol contributes to over 200 different diseases and conditions in the United States. And the one that really, is really poignant is that alcohol contributes to 5 to 6% of cancer in the United States, and that's according to the National Cancer Institute. And that makes alcohol the second most preventable cause of cancer, the other being, of course, tobacco.
So when we start thinking about what our usage is, and I think there's such a range that people kind of believe that alcohol plays in their life, whether it's misuse and then all the way to addiction. When did we really start thinking about dry January and taking this month and abstaining from alcohol completely?
Well, it started, I believe, almost 10 years ago in the United Kingdom, but it slowly started to filter into our society. And I would say about 5 years ago, we started doing quite a bit on this subject, and it seems to be increasing interest each year. And it goes along with a trend of what we call changing the conversation about alcohol in the United States, particularly with young people, because we now have mocktails, dry bars, sober curious movement, and Sober October, and there's a whole host of these initiatives where I think people are reevaluating how they interact with alcohol.
So what are some of the questions that we can ask ourselves? And I know this particularly comes after the holiday season when we think about celebration, and alcohol a lot of times goes hand in hand with that and the overuse of it. What are some of the things we should ask ourselves when we're saying maybe we should do dry January about how alcohol has played a role in our lives?
Well, one of the things is if you actually stop drinking for a while, even a few days or a week, and you start feeling better, if you start sleeping better, if you have less gastrointestinal distress, if you're starting to exercise again, if you have a lot more energy and are getting work assignments done more efficiently, no matter what the work is, I think, your body is trying to tell you something. So what I always say is listen to your body.
Is there, again, with the guidelines, and I know that it can be fiercely debated, a safe level of alcohol usage?
There really is no completely safe level of alcohol usage. It depends so much on the individual. The dietary guidelines put out by the USDA are 2 drinks a day for males, 1 drink a day for females, 14 a week for males, 7 a week for females. But you're not supposed to drink all 14 on Friday night, I mean, so, but that's an average for the average weight person and so forth. And of course, it's going to vary dramatically, and genetic makeup plays a role. History of alcohol misuse in families plays a role. The culture around which you grew up in plays a role. So all of these things have an influence.
Yeah, I mean, and even seeing the video of drinking like that, I mean, I'm sure everyone was doing dry January. Thanks for showing me all the cocktails, but a lot of good information there.